Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Trauma Pond HQ. My name's Olivia and this is where we sit by the pond and we have a little chat. Today we're talking about something that, I'm not going to lie, this is something that has gotten me to my very core, because obviously I'm very familiar with this particular subject. It's something that I was subjected to an awful lot as a kid, not to the same extent as what the Frank children actually have, but we're talking about Ruby Frank. I really truly hope that she gets put away forever for what she has done. I actually came across Ruby Frank last year, and I was in a very bad headspace last year because of everything that was going on. Again, I still can't share my experiences of what happened to me last year, but like I say, if you like, subscribe and share as much as you can, then I can actually share this because YouTube might actually take it down. But when I first saw the video of Ruby Frank, it was this particular one.
I just got a text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school?
Not gonna lie, when I first saw that, I was very triggered by that because my mom would have done the exact same thing. In fact, she had done it once or twice. Thankfully, when I was at school, there was always school dinners. There was no excuse for any child to not have any food. But however, this one, when I first saw it, I was like, that is not a mother. If you are a person who is broadcasting your entire life and vlogging it with your kids, you're not a good parent. I genuinely cannot say that there are any good people out there who are willing to put their children online. Now, there is only one that I can think of that I actually think does have good parenting skills. However, the fact that the children are still put online, automatically you're no good as a parent in my book, because you have opened your kids up to be subjected to predatory behavior. And that is something that I'm just never going to get on board with ever. In saying that though, there are certain levels of disgusting behavior, and Ruby Frank is one of those. Could I say that she is the worst mother that has ever existed? Absolutely not. There's quite a few of those around. Rose West was certainly not a good one. But as far as mothers go, mothers are supposed to be nurturing, caring, and teaching their kids. But this thing did not seem to know how to do this. Without dwelling too much on this, I thought we would just look at some of the footage of what she has done and see just how much damage she has actually caused to her children. On top of that, this is going to go through court proceedings. I have no idea what the laws are like in America, but coercive control is not illegal. However, physical abuse can be. There are loopholes that can get you out of physical abuse. But there's certainly an awful lot of things that she documented and put all over the internet for all of us to see just how bad a parent she really is. Not just about starving her children, but depriving them of beds, depriving them of privacy. I wouldn't be surprised if she deprived them of sleep. That's a manipulation tactic that a lot of cluster B people like to use. But anyway, let's get into it.
My bedroom was taken away for 7 months, and then you give it back like a couple weeks ago.
I don't think our viewers know that.
You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October, and they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago. Oh, I'll give you the reason why I lost my bedroom. I think so. I think this is the reason.
She has zero shame about that, which is really, really concerning. When he is saying that he hasn't had a bed for a few months, or a bedroom for a few months, she's just laughing at it. That's exceptionally malignant. On top of that, she's not even awkward about it. Like, she is taking almost a lot of joy out of the fact that he hasn't had a bed for months and that he's been sleeping on a beanbag. Okay, I can't imagine that sleeping on a beanbag for a really long time would be good for you. And I can imagine that he would be quite sleep deprived, which I just said as well is one of the things that these kind of things love to do. Sleep deprivation is a fantastic tool to use on your victims. Because let's face it, we can't say that her children are her children. They are victims. They were never her children. Just because you are able to reproduce does not necessarily mean that you are a parent. I feel so bad for these kids. I feel so bad for them. But she doesn't care. She does not care how her kids feel. And she's just laughing at the fact that her son doesn't have a bed.
It's pretty funny, but now that I look back, I mean, it's pretty depressing.
No, we never told our viewers.
That I woke Russell up at 2 in the morning and told him that we're going to Disneyland and he has to pack. And he got up and made his bed all neatly and then packed all his clothes in a suitcase. And then he walked out the door and I'm like, Russell, he was like, what? And he's all happy. Has his sunglasses on.
Do you think it's funny? Because
and then I walk out.
If you think it's funny, then that was 7 months ago. Maybe you need longer without a bedroom.
It was not funny.
Threatening to do it again. Just constantly threatening. And here's the thing. While he was telling that story, she was laughing as well. And I mean, let's face it. Kids always do these sort of things to each other. Especially, like, the more kids that you have, the more they're going to play pranks and jokes on each other. That's just the way it is with kids. It's a harmless prank. It's still a prank. Who knows what it actually did to their sibling. But siblings play pranks on each other all the time. The ones that cannot play pranks on their kids are the parents. Parents are not actually supposed to play pranks on their kids, no matter how harmless that it seems. And this is a thing as well. I'm going to go off track of the Ruby thing just for a second. There was a viral thing that was going on for quite some time of parents breaking eggs on their children's heads. Obviously, the children, especially the younger they were reacting pretty badly to it. They were, crying because of it. And the parents were just laughing it off. That is not good parenting. No. I'll explain something that a lot of people don't actually know. You can actually create food phobias because of something happening to you at a very young age. So every single person who I know that has a particular food phobia has had an experience, usually before the age of 6 years old, where that particular food has been shoved in their face. For myself, it's custard. My face was plunged into custard when I was a kid. I know someone else who doesn't like Vegemite because it was put all over their face when they were at a sleepover at the age of 5 years old, and they've got this horrible repulsion towards Vegemite. Another person who absolutely despises beetroot because every time they open their mouth, they got a beetroot shoved right into their face. If you have got a certain food phobia of a particular food, most likely what has happened is that you had an experience when you were younger than 6 years old. And if that has happened to you, tell me what has happened to you in the comments. Taking the bedroom away for months, the punishment does not match the crime. I mean, it's one thing to do it for a week, but for months? And she's laughing at it. She's laughing at her punishment. She is absolutely disgusting in that approach. Why did people think that this was good parenting? Why did people follow this? Why did she have a platform of millions of followers with millions of views? This thing is repugnant. These are the kind of things that she was putting up. Sharing private things about her children as well. This is revolting. Let's have a look at another one.
Russell got the big bedroom and Chad got the smaller bedroom. And Russell's bigger bedroom also had a bathroom. But what you guys didn't know was Chad didn't get any room. He didn't get anything. He was sleeping on the floor in the family room. Abby, we took the phone away from Abby in November. And you may never get the phone back.
Probably not.
No, I have no friends.
You can play with friends.
No, I don't have friends.
I don't have friends either.
I literally told my friends I'm not hanging out with them anymore because they say some pretty messed up stuff.
I don't even know where they live.
Again, I'm going to use some personal experience here. There's something that happens whenever you are brought up in these sort of environments. Everything that you know is just the norm. So these kids didn't know what it was that they were experiencing. They knew that something wasn't right, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they can challenge it because that's all that they know. So with these kids, they have detached themselves from other people because they think that that's how they're supposed to be. And that's the unfortunate thing as well. They probably are saying that the reason why they don't have any friends is because their friends are messed up or things like that. It's because most likely their mama has brainwashed them into saying that that's what their friends are like. Because then that means that they have got further isolation. I would not be surprised that that's the case. I'm not saying that that is exactly the case, but I just know from experience with these sort of things, they do try to isolate you to make sure that you do not want to rely on other people. This is just all that these kids really know. Do everything mom says, otherwise you end up being punished.
And they're pretty far away.
So, summer goal, become the best athlete I possibly can.
As an ex-athlete and a personal trainer, I do see an awful lot of people in the gym who are using fitness as a tool to mask the pain of what they've had to experience. And an awful lot of them do come from deep childhood trauma issues. And then they go on to become certain athletes in different fields and things like that as well. Not saying that that's always the case, but every time I hear that there is someone who wants to completely abolish people for being like super fit and setting bad examples to look a certain way, just know that mentally they're unstable as well. Just saying. I mean, I can do a whole episode on that one too one day. Yeah.
I'm cleaning the sink, I'm cleaning the countertops, mopping the floor. I'm stalling. I think I'm ready now. I think I'm ready to leave. I put on a little bit of lip gloss and that will be as much stalling as I'll go. And so she woke up this morning and she's like, Mom, my vision is really blurry, like more blurry than it usually is. Kevin just came in. He's like, I think we need to take Sherry to the emergency room. I said, well, let me take a shower and then I'll be out. It's been an hour, so.
Your daughter was in need of medical attention and the first thing you wanted to do was take a shower? I genuinely, okay, even on a narcissistic level, look, I have had my fair share of narcissists in my life. Not just my mom, but quite a few people, a lot of people. Not once did a narcissist ever stop me from being taken to the hospital. Even my own mom, whenever I needed to go. She made me feel guilty about it, but never did she stop me from going. And she took me to go to the hospital. On what level was that okay to spend an hour in your bathroom and stall, in your words, stall, to take your child to the hospital? What kind of a monster does that? Ruby Frank is a perfect example of someone that did not need to ever have children. And unfortunately, she had quite a few. 6 kids? Like, I'm genuinely... That is not narcissistic. By all accounts of everything that she is being accused of, all the things that she has done to her children, like they found her children severely malnourished, they had duct tape on them. That is not narcissism. That's a different level. And she took down her channel, so she probably was seeing that she was getting a bit of attack from audiences. Now that we are starting to understand and be more aware of what abuse really is without it being physical, now we're starting to see that emotional and mental abuse is just as severe, if not worse. It is actually so much worse. Mental and emotional abuse is so much worse than physical abuse. And a lot of people are really, really going to hate me for this, but ask any survivor of abuse that also experienced physical abuse in that relationship. They will tell you that the physical abuse was the easiest part. I can safely say that. Physical abuse is nothing in comparison to the rest of it. Silent treatment makes you feel sick. I don't fall for silent treatment anymore. Anyone who wants to give me silent treatment, I'm like, hey, this is genuinely concerning. I really hope that she gets so much time just for that one alone. That alone, I really hope she gets a lot of time just for that alone. Who does that? Am I allowed to say that she's psychotic?
If you cut one more thing in my house,
We're chopping its head off.
I'm going to take the scissors, look at me, and I'm going to cut its head off.
Grandma will be so mad.
So what are you going to do?
Are you gonna cut anything else? No.
You promise?
How old is that child there? It can't be any older than 3. Like, so young. So what Ruby is trying to imply is that violence is the best answer for discipline. This is another thing as well. When you see that children act out whenever they use violence, they have been taught that. So it comes from the parents. If there are parents who act out in anger, that's why the children act out in anger. Everything is learned behavior. If you are a cool, calm, collected parent, your children are going to be cool, calm, and collected. If you are aggressive, your children are going to be aggressive because you are teaching them that. Now, I'm not saying her children are this way. They probably had the fear of God put into them. Just FYI, I'm looking at the picture right now. Anyone who smiles like this or poses like this, I'm on to you. Okay, I'm going to break down the video that really triggered me last year whenever I first came across it. And then thankfully, I never saw it again for quite some time. But it was really distressing to see it because this is a thing that deprived her children of food.
I just got a text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? This happens quite often when you're raising children.
Why is it happening often? That's my question. Why does it happen often? Look, you're supposed to be a mother. You're supposed to make sure that your children have food. I have no idea how old the child is at this point when she was saying that the child didn't have any food. Regardless if that child is 4 or 15, you're supposed to be a mother. You're supposed to care for your child. So let's play devil's advocate here and say that the child is actually 10 years old. Why would it be acceptable for you to starve your children? Children need food as part of their development. It's not just about the fact that you are going to use it as a disciplinary thing, which no child should ever experience, ever. Food being taken off them as a punishment. Yes, sweet treats, absolutely, because those are not essential. But full food, that's essential. They need it for the development, especially whenever they're in school, because as they are learning, they need the sustenance so that they can learn more. So I wouldn't be surprised if her kids didn't do very well in school, if she was starving them like that. They probably could have done not too bad, but that would have been beaten into them. I wouldn't be surprised if she beat the hell out of them.
Because I know that her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch. And it would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch. But I responded and just said, Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch.
I truly hope that not too many people actually paid much attention to this thing whenever she had her channel. I really, really hope nobody ever treated their kids like this. Like I said, just because you're able to reproduce doesn't necessarily mean that you could be a parent.
So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. And hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
What is her punishment after that? Because I guarantee not only did the child go hungry, but then they were punished as well. Because the punishment of just being hungry is not going to be enough for this thing. Like, this thing likes to put punishment on top of punishment and then potentially more punishment. Do you see what I mean here? It's no picnic with these sort of things.
Go win.
We are going to a movie, so go get on your shoes.
What is it? What?
Does it even matter? If someone asked me if I wanted to go to a movie, I wouldn't ask, what is it? Run and get your shoes or you're going to not go. Hurry. Everyone run. Hey, this is Ruby. I was wondering, is Brooke available to babysit?
Sorry.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. What a good idea for spring break.
Mom, I'm really sorry.
Well, good. I will call her again. Tell her I will call her again.
Sure.
Okay, have fun.
My shoes
Uh-huh. Bye.
Okay. So I went to college.
Babysitter's not available. I am not taking Eve, unless you come and give me a huge apology.
Okay, I just want to point out something. So she is rageful right now. She's not happy that her daughter just asked, what are they going to say? And not expressing being grateful. And when she's on the phone with the babysitter's mom, she's all pleasant. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I will talk to her later. Yeah, that's primary narcissism right there. Even though I know that I'm saying that this thing is potentially not just narcissistic. Not all narcissists are psychopaths, but all psychopaths are narcissistic. This one is proving to be the latter.
It was not very thankful of you. I was excited and I told you to go get on your shoes and your jacket to see a movie. And you should say, okay, and be grateful. Instead of, well, what movie? Well, I don't know. Let me think about it. That's not very grateful, and I'm not going to take a girl who's not grateful.
Okay, so one apology is not enough. and I have to pay attention. That's so much better than what I got as a kid. Children are constantly learning and they make mistakes. Now, this is something that cluster B parents do not understand. There is a development that happens with children. That's basic 101. Everybody understands that. The only thing is, narcissists do not like that children are children. They hate them with a passion because they're reliant. My mom's number one catchphrase when I was a kid was, "You're not sorry, because if you were sorry, you wouldn't have done it in the first place." The worst thing is I look just like her now, so looking into the camera and saying that is actually quite... Imagine saying it when I'm angry.
You come give me a hug and you come say you're sorry. No, again, where I can pay attention.
Just so you're aware, this child, all of her children, are probably going to have severe attachment with the idea of hugging because her mum is using hugs only when the camera is rolling. I don't know if she would have used hugging if the camera wasn't rolling, because they don't tend to do that. Like, this is all show. This is show. And the worst thing is, this is her at her best behavior. I guarantee that when the camera wasn't rolling, there was a lot of bad things in place. The fact that she decided to stop recording their lives and then one of her children breaks free, malnourished, covered in wounds and duct tape, says so much about how bad the situation actually was within the house and how much worse she was actually getting. I'm recording this the day after a news article has just come out of what she said about her children and why she was so abusive towards her children. And it was because her children were sexually assaulting other children. I mean, I don't believe that, but apparently no one has come forward about that sort of thing. But a lot of people are coming out against Ruby. And of course, there's so much evidence to supply within the courtroom that she has done horrendous things to her children. Of course, any psychologist, good psychologist, can look at the footage, can also analyze her and diagnose her very, very easily from the types of things that she was doing. To say that about your children, this is what puts her into potentially, I'm not diagnosing here, I'm just saying that potentially Ruby is falling into the antisocial category, because this is completely psychotic if it is not true. That level of manipulation, it doesn't necessarily mean that she is going to fall into that category. If we look at well-known psychopaths that have been incarcerated for some time, we know that they do try to manipulate the system. They will confess to things that didn't happen, or they will make stories up as a method of control. They have to have one up on the people that they're trying to control. So it wouldn't surprise me that Ruby made up that story for two reasons. One, to try and get herself to look better than what she actually is and give them a reason as to why she was abusing her children. And two, to cause absolute chaos within her family. Now, because of the accusation that she made about her children, essaying other children, that's when the courts actually had to separate them and take it very, very seriously. Now, this is just another way to really hit hard with her children. And that's why, if that's the case, she is really going into psychotic territory. I truly feel for her children, and I really, 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 really hope that they're okay. And all I can say is that these children have been subjected to a huge amount of torture, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And I really hope that they get all of the right care that they need. Because unfortunately, like I pointed out in the last episode, it's very hard to find good psychologists these days. And I really hope that this family really gets the help that they need. In saying that, we have no idea what the father was actually like. He looks like just an accessory. Potentially, like I said, these kind of things, they treat you as toys or tools. I wouldn't be surprised if she just used him as a tool to manipulate the situations for her benefit. Anyway, guys, I hope that you have an amazing week. I know that this is a very, very hard, disturbing thing to deal with. And unfortunately, this is not as rare as you think. Please be kind to your kids. Hug them, hold them, love them. And they will grow up to be great people. Please take care, guys. I will see you for another episode of Trauma Pond HQ in the future. But until then, I will see you later. Have a wonderful week, guys. I love you. Mwah.